Right, welcome to Insomnia Month. I'm chatting with Kate Driver. Kate, tell us a bit about what you do, and then we will chat all things insomnia.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Emily, and hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Kate Driver. I'm a naturopath. I've been a naturopath for over 24 years, and I help women in perimenopause and menopause and helping them get rid of their symptoms all naturally. And I consult in person and online and have programs and memberships and things like that as well. Lots of offerings.
Awesome. So insomnia. I I'm gonna hazard a guess that pretty much every woman in perimenopause has experienced insomnia at some point.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, including myself, including someone like myself that's been trying to be as healthy as possible and yeah, had insomnia a lot of times throughout my life, but particularly at the beginning of perimenopause. I remember that's one of the first symptoms that I had. But yeah, it's actually extremely common, and because it has a flow-on effect for everything else. If you don't sleep well, then you become more inflamed. You might get more aches and pains. You're going to feel tighter and crave the wrong foods, and it will cause havoc with insulin, things like insulin resistance. So you might put on weight and yeah, it can imbalance the rest of the hormones as well. So you don't detoxify as efficiently when you don't sleep. But depending on what reason, I mean, some women get hot flushes, obviously, and night sweats and don't sleep, but it can be for loads of other reasons. And I wanted to mention probably one of the biggest ones is because of the adrenal dysfunction. So the adrenal glands are the glands that produce your stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and they can become dysfunctional. So women can feel really tired during the day, so they're not producing enough of these hormones during the day. And at nighttime, they produce too much of them, the stress hormones, when they should be switched off and releasing melatonin, which is your sleepy hormone. And so then they can't go to sleep. So that's one of the really common reasons. Whether they've got hot flushes or not, it's actually really common that women just feel tired during the day and then wired and tired at night. So these little adrenal glands can be to blame for that.
And it's crazy when you think how small the adrenal glands are, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I always find it amazing when you think something so small has such a huge impact on everything.
Yeah, they're the size of a walnut. You've got two of them, they sit on your kidneys and they do so much. I mean, without them, we wouldn't be really alive. And so, yeah, they really need to be as healthy as possible throughout this time. And most women enter perimenopause and menopause with adrenal fatigue or adrenal stress and with really busy lifestyles. And I think busyness is partly to blame as well. People are always rushing around and multitasking and doing too much. And then on top of that, getting hot flushes and night sweats, and as we age, our melatonin, the sleep hormone, decreases as well. So we sort of need to look at all of that together, and the fact that if people are multitasking and they're on multiple devices all the time, they might be checking their phone all the time, going on Facebook and watching TV, and if they're getting exposed to all this blue light, which all these devices emit this blue light, this actually increases cortisol, and it keeps you in a false sense of feeling alive. I shouldn't say alive because we were. That's really funny. I said that because we all know we feel alive. Sorry, awake. I should have said.
Yeah. Kind of alert. Yeah.
Awake. Yeah, in the evening. So if you didn't use those devices, you'd feel sleepy, and you know what it's like when you go camping or you're out in nature and you get away from those things. You go to bed earlier and you sleep better. But when you're in all this artificial environment, that's one of the first things to look at, is to, it's part of it, like your sleep off, and don't check Facebook 10 times before you go to bed and get too close to the TV. I get women to turn the Wi-Fi off when they go to bed. So in the house, there's no Wi-Fi while you're sleeping, because that disrupts your sleep as well.
I mean, these days, we all live in a world of disruptions. There's so many disruptors, aren't there? I know personally, I live rurally, so there's not streetlights, but when I've lived in places where there's streetlights, that used to affect me so badly.
Oh, yeah, because what you can see in your room when you're sleeping. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so your body always thinks it's dawn already because there's light.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. I think you get more sensitive to that as you get older. Some people are more sensitive than others, and they have like thinner eyelids. I remember when I was younger, it didn't really matter. I could sleep in bright lights, but as I'm getting older, I'm the same. Like if I notice the sun coming up, I start waking up, and for most of that's really what we should be doing, but some people are more sleeper inners, and then, you know, they're night owls like myself, and other women, you know, tend to want to wake up earlier and go to bed earlier, and some women just have no idea, or they're all over the place. And the best thing you can do in the morning is actually to get sunlight exposure as soon as you get up. And okay, you know, if you're somewhere like where you are, Emily, and it's dreary and rainy all the time, at least try and get outside, even though you might not be able to see the sun. Just get outside in the, you know, the fresh air. And when your body senses that you're out in nature and in the sun, then that melatonin will start to be produced during the day, and it sets your circadian rhythm, or your biological clock. So it knows then at night time, when the sun goes down, then it will start releasing melatonin. And so a lot of people go, you know, from one artificial environment to another. They might go from, you know, a dark place at home to a dark place at work, and then their body clock just doesn't know what's going on, so it doesn't know when to release this melatonin. And that can be partly when women can't go to sleep. They're just not exposed to nature like we should be, and this is what's disrupting some of it. I mean, it's our hormones as well, dropping progesterone and melatonin, but yeah, it's also that environment, which is a bit of a bum, because we can't get away from it, can we? Really, it's the way
Not
we
easily.
live. We're not all going to just sit around candles all the time, are we?
I mean, it would be lovely, actually. Like whenever you
Yeah.
do have a power cut, you go, oh, life is so calm when there's a power cut. There's just candles. This is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
But
it is, isn't it?
then the power comes back on, and we're all straight back onto Facebook.
Yeah. And some people just feel like they can't stop, and it's a bit of an addiction, I think, for some people.
Yeah.
So even the evenings, watching the sun go down in the evening can help tell your body too. Like, and I try and do that, and I just find that that's you know, never had problems going to sleep, because I've always pretty much 5 out of 7, or probably 5 or 6 out of 7 nights a week, I would see the sunset, whatever time that is. I work my business around it.
Yeah.
And even eating certain foods in the evening can help you release more melatonin. There's some melatonin-rich foods like cherries and pistachio nuts and goji berries that you can eat in the evening to help you with that melatonin production and release. Or tryptophan-rich foods, which are really good. They're all the protein foods. There's a big list, and just from memory, I think sort of things like chicken and eggs and turkey, I remember they're quite big. Maybe some nuts and cheese and things like that. So having those sorts of foods helps us produce this amino acid called tryptophan, which helps us produce serotonin, which is the precursor to melatonin. So I know that's a lot of information there, but it's actually very helpful. And they're also protein foods. And if you're eating protein in the evening, then you're stabilizing your blood sugar level and reducing cortisol as well. So it's easier for you to go to sleep. Yeah, because the last thing you need to do is eating sugary foods or chocolate or having caffeine or too many spicy foods and alcohol and things like that in the evening, to sort of, they'll all increase the cortisol. And when the cortisol stays high, then you can't release this melatonin. So yeah, it is important to sort of relax as much as possible and reduce that cortisol, so the melatonin can help you sleep. And so we're just talking about general sleep. I mean, hot flush is a bit of another subject, I suppose, isn't it?
So many women find that they might have got off to sleep okay, and then suddenly they just wake up as like this furnace, and then they're suddenly freezing, aren't they?
Yeah, and so I mean it's actually the brain's sensing the body's actually hotter than it is, or colder than it is. It's just this disruption in temperature. But the cortisol is to blame with that too, usually. And sometimes histamine can play an issue as well if women are histamine intolerant, and insulin resistant, I was going to say. But I mean, I think the good thing for most women to focus on is reducing cortisol for things like anxiety and sleep, because that makes a huge difference with both of them. The more you can reduce cortisol in the evening, or if you're really anxious throughout the day and you can't sleep in the evening, you want to sort of keep your cortisol low, not low, but lower throughout the day, so you're not feeling anxious. And don't drink coffee or have too many sugary foods and things like that, because it might give you a boost and you might feel great at the time, but it will actually increase your anxiety symptoms and stop you from sleeping in the evening. And most women that say, oh, don't have a coffee after 12 o'clock, they probably shouldn't have coffee at all if they can't sleep or if they're anxious, really, ideally.
Yeah.
There's so
no, absolutely. There was something you talked about before we started recording, that you've become a coach with a company that does personalized health.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah,
Yeah, that one thing that I found, so I've been a naturopath for over 24 years, but last year I trained as a PH 360 coach. So there's a platform that you can use, and I won't go into all the details, but it's a platform that measures your gene expression. And I have become a coach with them, and I'm using it with my clients now. What it does is it actually gives you advice on exactly what your body needs. So it's so individual and unique for each person. And that's anything from what time you should go to sleep, how much sleep you should get, what time of day, and what time you should eat your meals. I shouldn't say day. So what time your meals should be for each meal, what time you should be drinking water in between meals, what time of days you should exercise, and what type of exercise. And for each woman, it's completely unique and it's amazing. And I've found that women are gaining energy and losing weight more easily than ever before, even with my naturopathy support as well. This has just added the icing on the cake to it. But particularly with sleep, because with the sleep, it can make a big difference. You know, when people talk about, oh, I've missed the window, you know, they might fall asleep in front of the TV at night time, then they try and go to sleep afterwards and go to their own bed, then they can't go to sleep, and they say, I've missed that window. If they know what time they should be going to sleep, really, for their health type and their body type that's unique for them, it makes a really big difference. And so what I found with this personalized health is that when you get this timing right for your eating and your exercise and your sleeping, then all of your other hormones start to balance. And so it actually balances your whole circadian rhythm or your biological clock, and it will balance it for each person. And it sees each person as an individual. Instead of saying, oh, we should all go to bed at 10 o'clock and get up at 6 a.m., it's not going to tell. And this is what I love about it too, that actually, you know, everybody, you know, is so individual that, you know, some body shapes and body types, because it goes through all that as well, are never, you know, going to be going to bed early. There's never going to be, you know, and they're never going to be a certain body shape or be able to do a certain type of exercise. So it takes that into account, and it treats everybody extremely individually. And that's what I love, because you get better results, rather than me saying to, you know, 1,000 women, you should all do this one diet and do this one exercise. You know what I mean? And you should all go to bed at 10, because it doesn't work for everyone.
No, and I just find that really interesting, because, you know, personally, I've always preferred to go to bed early.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
you know, I'd happily go to bed at 7 p.m. most nights, given half a chance, but that doesn't really fit in with life. You know, my partner would happily not go to bed until like 2 a.m. So it's just, you know, so understanding that we're just different. And I think that's what's great with, you know, when people come and work with you or with any of the other experts, is getting that sort of tailored individual look at what you need for your sleep or for whatever, rather than, you know, some of the generic advice that we see, you sort of think, well, that's great and all, but I don't fit into that box, you know.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, I mean, what we're talking about tonight, like that, we're just talking about generally, like there's so many general things that you can do, but if you want to be really specific, like saying, oh, you should all eat banana. Oh, actually, that's another, I'm just about to say bananas. Bananas is another food that's high in tryptophan that's great to help you sleep. And that's something that I did. It really works. I used to make either have bananas with coconut yogurt, or make gluten-free banana pancakes, with no sweetener, just mashed banana, cinnamon, gluten-free flours and water. So, you know, for some people, we could say that, oh yeah, bananas is great. Everybody have bananas because it will help you sleep. But for some people, it might not, because they might have a histamine issue and they might react to that banana, or it might crash their blood sugar levels throughout the night and make them wake up because they should have had protein instead. So it's, it would tell you exactly, even with each food specifically, like you should have bananas, you should eat chicken, and you shouldn't eat fish, and, you know, all that sort of thing. It's amazing.
So if anybody wants to get really geeky about what's right for them, they can get in touch with you and really dig deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't have to, not overwhelming. So I don't want to give people the wrong idea that because you can access it, it's an app that you can use and you can access it whenever you need to, but it's something that, it's just amazing. It can even tell you how your body deals with stress, what type of meditation you should do, what your areas of genius are if you're trying to look for a new career or going to start a new business. It knows how your mind thinks. It's actually amazing what this is not just about the diet and exercise, it's about so much more. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, absolutely. I love it. But also I love naturopathy, but it's just one of those extra things that I've added, and I think it's one of the best things I've added for a long time to my repertoire. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's just, sorry, my dog is just being an idiot. That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Kate. The dog's obviously decided, right, we're done.
That's it. Time's up. Probably is. Yep. No, it's good to keep it short and sweet. Like you said, that's good. Thank you, dog. What's your dog's name?
Much, Kate.
Oh, thanks, Emily. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening. Hope you get